There he is.
Well, if it isn't Craig. Hi, Craig. How are you?
I swear, he looks even more creepier than Alistair because he's just kind of like dead eye staring at us with those big, brown, white. What is that thing? What just happened? What's playing right now? Okay, Google, stop. Jesus. Stop. Okay, Google, stop talking. Oh my goodness.
Man, Google just wants to be a part of the podcast, that's all.
Dude, Google is just answering all over the place. Seriously.
Dear Lord.
I don't even know where that one was coming from. What I don't even know what from. Whatever. Sorry about that.
Did we promise Google some meat or something? Is that what happened? Because I know sometimes that can happen. I accidentally promised Siri some meat a little while ago, and she tried to pop in for a little bit, but I forgot to tell her that was after the recording.
Oh, well, you know what? I will say this. Google sometimes flirts with me. Without, because sometimes I'll be talking to Moose and I'll be like, hey, babe. And then it'll respond and it'll say, no, thank you, or something. It'll respond something like weird. I'm more like, Google, I'm not talking to you. Don't be weird. You know? But yeah, it's kind of creepy. Google, yeah. Google has I'm just kidding. I was gonna say fetish. Let's just play fetish. You're like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, Silver.
Dead to me. No. But hello, everybody. Welcome to the TBD Tavern. Welcome on in. I hope you all had a wonderful, well, at the time of this recording, Thanksgiving. But yeah, I'm your co-host, Wandering Ambu, and I'm joined by the Silver Blaze.
Hello. Hi, I'm Silver Blaze. And today we're definitely not talking about fetishes, but instead we're talking about The Last of Us and how Ellie and Joel keep on their adventures, their marvelous adventures on this zombie land, or I guess like a zombie land of a world, right? Where these mushrooms people want to just eat them, and cannibals and other weird people and scavengers. Just the world wants to kill them.
So, and to let you all know too, because I know that we have been on The Last of Us for most of our episodes. We definitely are. We've got some ideas cooking right now in the oven, thanks to our wonderful barkeep Skitty. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing like a speed run of The Last of Us for the last 5 episodes. So we're going to be doing a part 1, which is now, and then part 2, which you'll hear after this. And we're just going to kind of go through it, so that way we can get you all some hot and fresh, steaming ideas and content ready to go.
Yeah. So we're just going to be powering through episodes 5 through 9. Again, this is going to be part 1. Part 2 we'll be recording and we're putting out right after this episode. Just go ahead and just dive right into it. Take a seat, guys. Go ahead and grab an ale from Skitty. Make sure you pay her. Don't mind the cats. Though the cats will attack you if you don't pay your tab, so please pay your tab.
So we didn't realize that Skitty had trained our cats to basically act as like the mafia here. They're the tavern mafia, being like, "Have you paid your tab yet?"
Yeah,
they're gonna be watching.
They will find you and they will get you.
Yeah.
But anywho, episode 5, Endure and Survive. Right, Joel and Ellie, on the last episode, we talked about The Last of Us. They were taking a nice little nap. They were kind of bonding. They were telling little jokes. They were having a great little time before they had the little nappy nap. And next thing you know, Joel, I could hear everything, but that's why he left the whole broken glass and everything. Next thing you know, he wakes up to a freaking gun to his face, right?
Yeah.
With a kid just kind of basically tell him. Did the kid go with his finger too, by the way?
Yes.
He did.
He did that to...
That's terrifying to wake up to, if you ask me, man.
Yeah, that I definitely agree that would be like, hi, kid. You're pointing gun at me. That's nice. Which then the thing that I both love and I find but also kind of like takes away a little bit sometimes for me is then we see on the next episode kind of like it backing up and showing how Henry and Sam got there. So it starts off with Kathleen doing her whole like I'm just murdering everybody for my brother,
Hmm. Hmm.
and she has all the quote unquote rats from the city locked in a cell, basically telling them give up where Sam and Henry are because you have all been rats before, so live up to your task.
Right.
And then tells them that they're gonna die if they don't. Which then one of them does because he tells him he's like, "This is all we know. That's the doctor was gonna meet them here. And that's how we now know why the doctor was captured." And as she leaves, she tells Perry and the others, "Don't spare them. Basically, murder them and do it quickly. Gun them down." Just because obviously this is her way of saying you hurt us so you could get stuff. We're not going to treat you kindly to like give yourself a chance to be redeemed. And that's why we now know why the doctor is gone. And then we cut to Sam and Henry waiting it out for the doctor to come back with more supplies in their little attic, which then they eventually realize they need to get moving because the the group is closing in on them. They don't really have safety anymore.
Mhm.
But we do get a little bit of some tender moments, though. For example, we do find out that Sam is deaf, which is another challenge I imagine in the apocalypse, having to navigate
Oh yeah.
that. On top of that, he is trying to stretch out their food as much as possible until the doctor gets there and is trying to help Sam with his resilience as well, which turns into this cute little moment where we find Super Sam or something like that, where he's now a superhero. He's like painting this to make the walls all like covered in his hero and everything. And it was Henry's way of keeping him distracted, which then leads to them leaving, which then leads to them hearing the skirmish between Joel, Ellie, and the three people, which then leads to them finding them in the hotel and
Yeah.
catches us up right there.
And the kid, I gotta give it to him. The kid seems to be used to this sort of lifestyle because when he was pointing the gun at Joel, it wasn't a shaky hand, right? It wasn't a nervous
Mhm.
hand. It was a calm hand. That kid knew how to handle that gun very well. Which, normally nervous people make me nervous when it comes to weapons and guns, but uh, that kid being so stoic and calm about everything, I think
Mhm.
that's even scarier. But I guess
Yeah,
that's the new type of generation that is now being born in this type of world, right?
but yeah, but I agree with you also how like you already mentioned that it was scary waking up to a kid with a gun, it
Hmm.
like staring you down, but also to like have such a calm demeanor. It would definitely be like, okay, you're not fucking around. All right, well, I let me sign my will and testament real quick before you do that, since you're already ready to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree that I think it's just unfortunate in a post-apocalyptic world, kids have to grow up that way. I think if one thing I've noticed in many post-apocalyptic shows is that kids no longer get to retain the sort of innocence that we expect them to hold in
No.
childhood in a normal lifestyle, where they get to be as imaginative, where they get to not have to stress about everything in life.
Right.
Like in the case of The Last of Us, like in any other show, these kids have to grow up quick. Sure, they get to like imagine superheroes, they get to imagine some things, but there's a hint of they have to be ready to shift gears and be in survival mode. And it's
Yep.
just an unfortunate byproduct of a world that they live in. And in Sam's case, you're right. It shows that he has lived in this world, from day one and has grown up in this type of mindset.
Yeah. And again, big kudos for a kid that isn't able to hear, right? Because this isn't the type of scary movie where like if you speak, the monsters will hear you, It's monsters in here making noise all the time, and you're kind of dependent on being able to hear them and everything.
Yep.
So it's probably twice as bad for a kid like him, but he's been able to do just fine because I mean, like we saw, right? He likes to draw. He likes, these superhero comics. Um, he just seems like a normal kid right after, of course, the scene where he's, having to point a gun at Joel. Um, and of course, they seem like reasonable people too, which was good, right? They
Mhm.
Because of that, they were able to find themselves uh, finding some common ground, right? To the point to that they need to escape. They all need to escape. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. Or is it? What is that saying? Like,
Yeah. The enemy
yeah.
of my enemy is my friend.
So, they both need to kind of find themselves to get out of there because both groups are being chased by this murderous vendetta lady who has this vendetta against the people that
Yeah.
killed her family.
Well, we
Um,
also know from the previous episode that she's under the impression that somehow Sam has the means and the resources to hire mercenaries to, like, come attack them.
right.
So,
Yeah.
like, even if Joel and Ellie tried to talk their way out of it and been like, "Look, you attacked us first," she's not gonna give them a chance at all just because she's already in her mind,
Mhm.
everybody against her is with Sam. That's pretty
Yeah.
much all it is.
Yeah. 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 And I think she laid it out like that too, right? I mean, because
Mhm.
she wanted everybody out there looking for them, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's that scene where she's just like, what are you doing here? Like, kill all these people. Let's get out there and let's go look, right? And you could see that she's kind of almost like is just seeing red. She doesn't care what needs to be done, but they need to find. Kathleen just needs to find them, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think in episode 4, Perry even mentions that they've got so much stuff that they have to do, and she literally says, "I don't care. Is it Henry? Is it Sam? Is it Henry? Find me them." Like, it's disappointing because, again, I think we've had that discussion in another episode about how when people lead revolutions, they're just so hell-bent on making the revolution succeed that they don't really have the next step, or, like, they're not really that much better
Yeah.
as a person. She's literally the byproduct of that, where, like, they've overthrown Fedra, everybody's happy, it's what now? And she's like, "Fuck Sam and Henry, let's go kill them." And
Yeah.
it's like, you could try to be reset, like, making sure the electricity is good, trying to
Mhm.
find ways to create, like, renewable sources for food and everything else, bolstering walls, making it to where Fedra couldn't come back. And she's like, "Nah, we're gonna go murder Sam and Henry." That's it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Have you ever seen that anime? Sorry to divert really quickly, but you ever seen that
Oh,
anime,
no.
The Shield Hero?
I have watched a couple episodes, but I haven't finished it, but I do know the big setup and the big
So
twist.
I don't want to spoil it too much, but basically, one of the heroes, not the Shield Hero, but one of the other heroes, boasts that he freed this kind of like not I guess not it's not really a country, it's more like a village, right, of this like tyrannical guy that was in charge and
Mhm.
was taxing them pretty heavily, right? And he kills them and lets the people govern themselves, and then the shield hero goes there, and that entire village is now dying of hunger, right?
Mhm.
Nothing is getting done. There's no uh, food coming in, coming out. Other countries or villages are attacking them. They have no way to defend themselves, right? And it's because the rebels that were leading this like rebellion to free the villagers from this tyrannical leader that was maybe charging them, a lot of taxes. Though he wasn't the best, he was still keeping the other bad people away. People were still eating, but they were overtaxed, but the taxes were helping, their current military protect
Mhm.
everybody. Things were working, but they weren't the best. But the rebellion, it's always easier, I guess, to be able to judge, the leadership. But when it's time to run it, not everybody can get that machine going, get that whole thing running and moving the way that it needs to. Uh, they
Yeah.
think that once you defeat the tyrant or the evil demon lord, you're everything's gonna be okay. But no, at the end of the day, when you kill the bad guy, like, you still have to reconstruct. You have to start all over again, man. People need to eat. People need to be healthy. People need water. People need people have needs. People
Yeah.
consume, right? So you're right. I mean, the smartest thing for Kathleen would have been using all those resources, all that manpower to let's just refocus. Let's go ahead and let's just do us, you know,
Yeah.
and start again. But that's not the mindset because in reality, she really isn't the leader.
No. And there's a big thing behind that too that I think we're just gonna jump around because we're doing a summary, right? So I'm
Yeah,
just gonna say it. So
go
we
ahead.
find out later in this episode when why we find out why Kathleen is so hellbent on Henry paying for getting her brother killed. Because in the end, what we find out is that Henry ratted out her brother Michael to get medicine for his brother Sam because Sam has leukemia. And
Oh yeah.
in that moment, and this is why it's so key to see why what you mentioned, which is that Kathleen's not a leader in comparison to Michael. Michael tells Kathleen to forgive Henry. He says to that was his last thing that he tells her when he's in his cell is forgive him because you've got too much other shit to worry
Yeah.
about. Like
Way
you
too
don't
many.
need this isn't going to do anything to solve
Mhm.
what happened to me
Yeah.
because you've got to lead people. It's not about that's the other thing too I think that a lot of people who lead revolutions don't think about is it's not you anymore. Like,
No.
sure, you're the
Yeah.
hero, but now it's everybody else's needs. You're
Hmm.
going to have to really think in a big scope about
Yeah.
what is needed. And that's why Kathleen fails so hard is because it gets so stuck in her revenge that she gets the revolution done and now everybody has all these needs, but she doesn't care because now she has the means and the resources to go after Henry, and that's her focus. And that is automatically a roadmap to failure because you put your needs over everybody else's, so of course you're destined to fail.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen. It's only a matter of when at that point.
It's the difference between dictator and a ruler, right?
Mm-hmm.
A ruler isn't necessarily a bad person. A ruler is somebody that is thinking in a broader scope, like we just said, like you just said, sorry, that keeps everything in mind, how it's going to affect the entire kingdom, right? The people, everything, the land, etc. And a dictator is like, I have a mission to make myself happy by using everything in this country to achieve that. Me. While
Mm-hmm.
rulers, though they may have to make sometimes difficult decisions, it is what it is, part of life, right? You can't please everything. You will have to make sacrifice and you will have to make those difficult decisions, right? But for the better of everybody, not for yourself, which is what, again, Kathleen is failing in, right?
Yeah.
And not doing well.
Well, and you are alluding to that too. Let's make sure you give yourself credit, sir. Don't just give it to me. But no,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So one of the other things too that I like about this episode, we might as well just not even like stick to the episodic format where we like keep it
Yeah.
linear. One of the other things too that I liked about this was Joel tells Henry he understands why he did it and that he's not a bad guy for turning him in. And I think
Right.
it's interesting because in The Last of Us, we also there's three, I think, key things that The Last of Us tries to do really well. Is one, it explains that morality is gray and that morality is subjective. It's about family and it's about relationships and connection and how we survive better by building our communities and building our proverbial village around us. And also, really, well, that's two out of three things. I thought I had three things. Damn it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about hope, right? Because in this show, it's always about looking for. I'm gonna like butcher the phrase that you don't like. It's always searching for the light, which is the fireflies, which we know we hate the
Gross.
name of the fireflies, but like
Gross.
those are the three tenets of The Last of Us. And what I love about this is that Joel, in a way, is right. Henry shouldn't feel bad for what he did to take care of his brother. I think 99% of the population would do the same thing. I think any of us who, if we see someone that we care about suffering and
Hmm.
see that they're hurting and you want to do something for them, you
Hmm.
will question your own morality and your own ethics, and you
Of
will
course.
likely be willing to do something that many
Yes.
other people might be like, it's bad, but to you, it's good because it takes care of those who you love. So
Right.
that's what I love about Joel telling Henry that, and it's good foreshadowing, but even more so, like in that moment, it's like, you're right, because you're trying to take care of your brother who is young, who has not really gotten to live, who you want him to be able to live a fulfilling life.
Right.
Why is that bad? In a sense of like, I mean, okay, yeah, to a degree it is bad because Michael was a leader of a revolution and was trying to help people and all this other stuff. But I'm going to be the devil's advocate and say, like, I don't think it was necessarily bad that he did what he did, and I don't know if he knew that they were going to kill him for being the leader of the revolution. I
Right.
wonder, to a degree, and I'm speculating, if Henry just thought they were going to get him to dismantle it and not kill him. So I understand Joel's perspective,
Right.
100%.
Right. Anything could have happened, but again, it's it's a hard decision that he had to make for what
Mm-hmm.
mattered for him at the time. He's not a leader. He's gonna take care of his himself. He has the right to pick to take care of his little brother, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and to try and give him, a better life. He's already dead, and they still already have to survive this new world. So yeah, I wouldn't judge him. I think that personally, I would have probably even made the same decision.
And that's what I'm saying. I think all of us would. I mean, let me put it this way. You know, for me, I feel like he would have felt so guilt ridden over not doing what he did to protect Sam
Mhm.
that it would have ate at him so much. I have no doubt that this decision that he made is eating at him to a degree, but I know for certain that in his mind, he made the right choice. And he would make the same choice over and over again because it's his brother, that's his family. He doesn't have anybody else left in the world for him. Why would he not choose that? So, in my
Exactly.
eyes, like, could we, could you say that it's not the morally correct choice?
Yeah,
You could
yeah,
argue
it
that.
would. Of
But
course.
like you said, I'm not gonna, and I agree with you, I'm not gonna judge him for choosing to protect his brother. I don't think any of us could judge him
No.
because I know most of us would probably make the same decision.
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely. Of course. If we were out there in the apocalypse and they said, "Do you want to, I don't know, help protect this entire village or, protect Ambu?" I'm gonna be like, I guess Ambu's dying to. I'm just kidding, Ambu.
No, man, do it. Do it. Protect the
Never,
village.
bro. Fuck those kids. Be like
Oh,
Anakin.
shit.
Anakin Skywalker, just kill the younglings. Can I do it myself? No, no. No, but you're right. Yeah, I mean, I'd pick you over a bunch of strangers that I have absolutely no, you know, loyalty to whatsoever. They have. I haven't known them all my life. My not my all my life. I wish we've only known each other for maybe a year, but I don't know them as closely, and I'm not as attached to them. I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna pick you. I'm gonna pick my people for sure. And I think
Yeah.
everybody would do that. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, yeah, no,
And
of course,
maybe this is going to sound too much devil's advocate, but the other side of the coin of this too is in a post apocalyptic world, does morality at that point really influence many decisions?
fair enough.
I'm
Like,
only
what
asking
does it
that,
even matter, right?
yeah, because how many times could you run into a situation where, from a moralistic perspective, you should do something that is considered right, but it could be a trap, it could be
Hmm.
numerous things. Like,
Hmm.
you have decisions that you're going to have to make that maybe it ends up being exactly what the situation is, but it was safer to make the choice to not act upon that or
Yeah,
something. So, again, same
you
thing.
got it.
Like,
That's right. Good point.
yeah.
Good point. What does it even matter? What is honor when it comes down to trying to just survive every day? You know,
Yeah.
what does it even mean? If it means between you and eating that day and surviving, fuck honor. And if you have like a little brother, or even if you were to have like a kid with you, dude, if I had a kid and I had to survive the apocalypse with my kid, I would do anything for my kid.
Mhm.
I'd bow down to anybody for my kid to be able to have food and somewhere to be safe. So yeah, you're right. Who cares about stuff like that? There's no room for it. It only limits you, right?
Yeah,
I mean, things like that would matter now, right now in society,
of
right?
course.
We have laws, right, that we have to stick to and abide to, but there's no laws there. It's the fucking it's worse than the Wild West. It's not even the Wild West. Because even the Wild West, you eventually find your water hole, man, and you're good. But
Mhm.
there is no water holes here, man. It's just holes with monsters that want to eat you and cannibals and the worst kind of things that humanity and that type of world can throw at you. So yeah, good point, man.
But yeah,
Point.
yeah, I don't know. I've thought about that a lot since we've been recording the series and thinking about like what morality means in a post-apocalyptic setting. Because in our world, right, that we currently live in,
Mm-hmm.
morality makes sense. Like you said, we have laws, we have unwritten laws too, like code of conduct and
Mm-hmm.
ethics and everything else that we all agree to, but it doesn't need to be spelled out in writing. And we
Right.
talk consistently about what it means to be good and to be human and all that.
Yeah.
But in the end, like if you're in a post-apocalyptic setting, things are going to change and it's always going to be in flux and there's never going to be a right decision. Oftentimes you're going to be in a situation likely where it's which decision is the less shitty of the two. And like you said, if I had a kid, I would choose taking care of my kid every day. I don't care about
Oh yeah, hands
pride.
down. Mm-hmm.
I don't care about pride. I don't care about
Mm-hmm.
honor.
Mm-hmm.
If it means my kid can have food for, like you said, clothing, shelter, I will do whatever it takes. And then if it's obvious that the situation's going to change, I need to do something else, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do that for my kid, for my partner, for whoever,
Yeah.
for
Yeah. No.
Silver.
Yeah. Because for Ambu, I mean, same thing. Like I said, I do it for Moose. I do it for you. I even do it if we were found ourselves in Janine. Was there with us. Like we're all trying to survive. Yeah, of course. I would
Yeah.
definitely go ahead and bow down for that. Of course, man. Because you're my people. You're my people, right?
Mhm.
So, um, but not for whatever the fuck this Kathleen woman's trying to do.
Jeez. Which, yeah, so getting back to Kathleen in the mall. So yeah, actually just getting back to the show. What's crazy is that in the last episode we saw that little weird pothole that was going on that was like kind of bubbling up, kind of
Yeah, that
showing
was a
some
good.
movement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so in this episode, Henry explains how they're going to be able to use the tunnels because the tunnels are actually empty. And we find the kids getting to be kids again. They get to play soccer. They get to do that thing. We talked about the Joel
You were
and
actually
Henry
kids for a
conversation.
second. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they finally get out, and
Mm-hmm.
everything seems great. Ellie invites Sam and Henry to join them on their journey to Wyoming. Joel gives her this look of like, "Excuse me, did we talk about this? Who the fuck do you think you can just bring on our journey over here?" And then, in true Last of Us fashion, anything good doesn't last longer than like 30
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, as soon as they start trying to leave and walking down the street, everything's all cool. It looks like it's just a bunch of friends hanging out, just walking, making their way
Are you
onto
downtown?
whatever's
Oh.
next. Making the really where we're about to sing that song. No, we're not gonna do that
Yeah.
because I don't want to get
No
struck on
copyright.
on YouTube. Sorry, YouTube. Um, uh, Kathleen and her army comes down on them. Uh, Not wait, that sounded wrong. Let me pronounce that again. Came on. No, can you say it? I don't want to say it anymore. It's
Okay,
gonna.
so they get stopped by a sniper who's
Thank
trying to
you.
hold them off. Because Joel gets the sniper and kills him because he tries to give the sniper a chance to not die by saying
Mhm.
don't do it, and the sniper is just like bet. He's like clearly I'm gonna try to survive anyway. So Joel shoots him, finds a walkie-talkie that says hold them there. We're on our way. So Joel's like telling them to start running, but by the time he tells them to start running, it's too late because Kathleen's crew is already there, um, and what is it? I think Henry, Sam, and Ellie are pinned behind a car, with Kathleen telling Henry to come
Yeah.
out and all
Yeah.
that, and Henry, thinking the best way he can save them is to come out on his own, tries to come out and do the whole "take me but leave the kids alone," and
Yep.
Kathleen's looking at him like "fuck you" because you don't make
I'm
the
about to
rules,
take
I do.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, which leads into a really fucked up response that she has about saying, "I understand why you did what you did, but maybe Sam deserved to die anyway because kids die all the time." And it's hard because I understand this is gonna make me sound terrible, but I understand what she's getting at where like
Never.
life isn't fair, that life
Oh,
doesn't have
yeah.
logic, that people die all the time that maybe didn't deserve to die, but they die anyway. And that the one life of Sam Sam's life didn't outweigh the impact that Michael would have on everybody else. But like I said earlier, I agree with Henry to where it's like you don't get to make that decision for me. Like I can't I don't know if Michael well, first of all, I don't even know if Michael's revolution is gonna work. I don't even know if what his plan was gonna be and if it would actually end Fedra. And we don't even know what Michael would have done after the situation and if he would have been as good of a leader as the show kind of hints him to be.
Yeah.
So again, Henry did the thing I think most, if not all of us would do. Chose to make sure he could get the life saving medicine for his
Yeah.
brother that he wouldn't have been able to get any other way.
Right.
Which leads into them basically getting ready to gun Henry down, trying to find the kids. And then that's when we get the biggest holy shit moment of the series, where the giant hole that we saw in the other building decided to make its way into this neighborhood. And
Uh-huh.
Big Daddy Mushroom Bro, which, by the way, everybody, I just need to let you know
Big
that
Daddy
suit
Mushroom,
weighed
bro.
Big Daddy Mushroom Bro, dude, that suit weighed 80 pounds.
Dude, 80
That
pounds?
80
Imagine
pounds.
having to carry
Yeah.
that around in that heat because you know it's hot right there.
Oh yeah.
Like there's fire, you wearing like, oh God, yeah, like and there's like so many people breathing around you. It's
Mm-hmm.
like in the smoke, it yeah. It's
And
probably I don't know. I don't wish that upon anybody. It's probably the most suffocating experience.
yeah, the dude was wearing 80 pounds doing multiple takes where he has to climb out of a hole, has to run towards people and like basically gun them down. Not gun them down, but like mow them down and kill them. But it's a moment where basically the show likes to remind you of people are enemies to one another, but there's still the very looming threat of the infected. Don't
Yeah.
forget the monsters that are still around you at night.
Yeah, it's super humbling because like you just said it, it was perfect. It's extremely humbling because they think that they're this like super strong. I guess like this superpower of people that are just coming down to almost like a mob to kill this one man, right? And these creatures that they're literally make a hole in the fucking ground, come out of nowhere in mobs and start taking out every single one of these like men and women who are like look like they have a lot of them look like they have like some sort of military training or some sort of form
Yeah.
of training with weapons, and they're just taking them out like nothing. And even what's his name, her number Kathleen's
Harry?
number one, Perry, even he's like, oh shit, when he sees Big
Yeah.
Mushroom Daddy coming out and just like taking out everybody like they're butterflies.
Oh yeah.
It's like seeing a human gigantic rhino just coming at you.
Yeah.
It's probably super terrifying because he comes at Perry, right?
Yeah, I think so. And basically demolishes him because Perry can't stop him. The dude's invincible with just bullets being shot at him. And what's scary about the situation too is now Joel's going, oh shit, because he's got Henry, Sam, and Ellie out
Yeah.
there. Like, they could die at any given moment. So we're watching this sequence of events where Joel is basically trying to cover Ellie and Sam. Well, Ellie, because Sam and Henry are doing their own thing for the most part, and Ellie makes it to a car by herself, and Joel shoots like a couple of the infected before they can get into the car, and she's scrambling. She goes under a car, and I think at some point she runs into Sam and Henry, and they try to save her, but then they almost get pinned down, and they somehow escape, and then they all leave, and they're out of Kansas City because Kansas City is now home of the infected.
Hmm.
King Big Mushroom Daddy over here is now your leader. He's going to rule everything. That's fine. Um, but we find out after they escape is that Sam was bit
Yeah,
in
really sad.
on his leg. And I
Hmm.
think the reason why nobody knew was because I don't think he knew how to scream because of being deaf.
Yeah, he was deaf. He just didn't know how to say it either. And I mean, he kind
Yeah.
of also knew what it meant, you know?
Hmm.
Um, and Ellie takes a chance, right? Because, clearly she might be the reason why everybody might get saved, and she is the
Hmm.
miracle girl that is infected but is still somehow human, right?
Yeah.
And she tries to what she gives him her blood, just
So
like
she
straight up.
cuts her arm and then tries to give him her blood, trying to
Yeah.
pour it into the wound in hopes that maybe it would stop the infection. Because he's afraid. The kid basically
Yeah.
writes her saying, "Am I going to die?"
Right.
And she's like, "No, no, no, we'll save you." And he says, "Stay with me until the morning." And then, man, it's so heartbreaking because she
Yeah.
fell asleep because of, of course she's tired. And then when she wakes up, he's doing the whole Walker infected thing where he's just kind of like stuck in stasis mode, which then we see Ellie screaming and then running out of the room, and Sam is clearly infected. I think we see tears, which indicates he knows what he's doing, like what's happening, and he can't stop it. But it's too late. And then Joel tries to stop Henry from shooting him, but then Henry shoots him on reflex.
Hmm.
And then Henry realizes what he did, and he's panicking because obviously,
He
holy
just
shit, I just shot my brother, and this was I did all of this to protect him. Sorry, you were gonna say something.
No, no, no. Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's just like a freaking. It's such a conflicting feelings that you start seeing through Henry's face. It's like, he knows it's his little brother. He's trying to stop Joel from like that little back and forth that Ellie is having with Sam, but at the same time, he knows that his brother is gone. It's infected, and he ends up shooting the kid, and you can still see his face conflicted. He just doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
All of the effort, dude, all of the sacrifice, all of the struggle,
Yeah.
everything that they all just literally went through out the window. Just
Yeah.
it doesn't matter anymore because the most important to him is is gone
Yeah.
because it's gone. The kid became infected, and at that point, he was gone.
And so, in what makes sense to I think anybody, he unalives himself right after
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
And let's be frank here again. We've talked about understanding Henry's motive and the way that he does things. Who can blame him? He literally lost the last thing that tethered him to this world.
Yeah.
And you could argue, well, he should have lived for whatever. No, no. Like, I don't. Anybody who tries to argue that he should have lived, I think we need to understand what it means to lose somebody, especially in like a world where what keeps you sane and what keeps you safe are those closest to you.
Yeah.
And it sucks, and you could tell it impacts Joel and Ellie really hard, but because I think it leads Joel to realizing how much of a danger he could be to Ellie because of his own limitations. But you get it. You understand why Henry did what he did. And it's unfortunate that that's how it happens, but that is just how it happened.
Yeah. It's just how it happened. And yeah, that basically is it, right? And
Yeah.
they just kind of move on, and it sadly it kind of starts looking like it just keeps getting easier for Ellie in a way too, right? Because she kind of accepts, like she's very sad. This kind of does shock her, but after they make their graves, they're like, come on. Even she tells Joel, "Let's go," you know. Like she seems to move
Yeah.
on a little bit. Not, I don't know if necessarily move on faster, but accepts it faster than Joel.
Yeah, and I think I think there's two things that happen in that moment. One for Ellie and one for Joel.
Mhm.
Because it leads into a discussion that I think Ellie believes in this next episode that we're going to talk about, where for Joel it's a realization of that could have been them at any given time because of his hard of hearing on his right side, because of his limp, because of all the injuries he sustained as whatever he's been doing for all these years. Clearly, as you and I have discussed, he was a hollow version of himself who didn't care. And yeah, well, you're good. All right. So anyway, in this in this ending, to me, there's two things that happen. For Joel, it's a reminder that he feels like he might be on borrowed time. All the years of feeling empty, being a shell of himself with Tess, with Tommy, with everyone, all the injuries that he sustained, clearly he's now realizing that the longer that they stay on this trip as him with the lead, the
Mhm.
more danger they're going to run into, especially with the hotel. I think that was another wake up call of like, clearly he's not suited to do this like he thought he was. And for Ellie, it's a situation of everybody that I grow close to or I get to know either leaves me or gets killed or whatever. Basically, she's not allowed to be happy and to have people that are close to her. And so I think we kind of see the subtle acknowledgement of that with it being foreshadowing for what happens in this next episode, which is I think months later where they've gotten closer to Wyoming. Now they're
Yep.
just trying to find a camp, and it's winter, dead of winter, snow everywhere. Um, they have this. They basically have a gun at this guy's wife, and they're like, "Where is the settlement and everything?" And what was it? It's like it's so cheeky because the wife and the husband kind of are just laughing at the situation to a degree, right? I think
Yeah, they are. They really are like, eh.
like
They're
whatever.
they're like whatever, uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the husband gets there with like he had just gotten there from hunting some rabbits.
uh,
I think it
I
was
think
rabbits,
so.
right?
Yeah,
And he even takes his time to take off his like gear and everything and
yeah,
unbutton his jacket. Like he's just like chilling, dude. And even like talks to Joel like, "Who the fuck are you? You know, like what are you doing
yeah,
in my house? You know, he doesn't care or anything." But you're right. He's kind of cheeky about everything. Even the wife is still like just kind of rocking her chair, like almost like as if like, "Oh, we got company, by the way."
yeah. And they called Ellie a little psycho because of when she comes down with the gun and everything. And yeah, so they try to press this guy for like, where's the settlement? Where do we go? Can you put us on a map? And the guy tells him basically he doesn't know the Fireflies, he doesn't know Tommy,
Fuck the
and
fireplace.
yeah,
Sorry.
fuck the Fireflies. And then just tells him to go east, but never go past the river because the river is death. And says that anybody who tries to go up there, there's bodies there to warn you to not try. And then people have tried anyway, and they still end up missing. So we don't know what that means, that they're missing, like they're murdered, missing, like they get whatever. They're just missing. So Joel and Ellie are like, all right, bro, bet. And then just go. And they're getting up there. And and this is a time when Joel is starting to feel panic attacks coming again.
Yeah.
Um, and I think part of it is because he wonders if Tommy is one of the one of the people who died. So similar to what he was likely experiencing when he lost Sarah, his daughter, now he's feeling panic because what if he loses Tommy? And so Joel's having these anxiety attacks. I think another part of it is Ellie is really growing on him as well, and I think that's another part of his panic attacks is losing that as well. But mainly it's the possibility that Tommy's gone, and then Ellie's like, Joel, be calm. We don't know if Tommy's dead or not.
Right. Right. And it doesn't help also the panic attacks of how he ended up finding the settlement, right? Because I think he gets surrounded by these Montana cowboys,
Mm-hmm.
or like I don't know if this Montana geography was probably wrong, but whatever. Cowboys in the snow, um, with guns pointed at them and everything, which ends up working out because they end up taking him to the right settlement and they end up meeting up with Tommy, right? Who apparently is a big iconic part of this entire little settlement.
Well, one of the things too that I actually like before they get to the settlement is that there's another conversation between Joel and Ellie, and it shows how close that they've gotten. I
Oh yeah,
think Joel is still guarded somewhat because of the whole "we're close, but you're still like cargo" or whatever. But one of the things I noted that I remember is they have a discussion on what they're going to do after they make a cure from Ellie, which is a sad conversation in hindsight after watching the series. But they talk about that, and I know Joel when Ellie asks what happens after the cure, what comes next, Joel's like basically, I'm gonna get a farmhouse, get some land, and start a sheep ranch. The man has simple goals. He's like, I have murdered people, both innocent and guilty. I've done crazy shit. I just want a farm with
I
some
just want
sheep.
to raise some sheep, you
Right?
know,
Yeah,
maybe
and
make some
then
goat milk, maybe make some goat cheese. I don't know.
and I think Ellie just says that she wants to explore because she's or go to space because she's like, I've lived by the ocean, I've lived by in various quarantine zones. She's been everywhere because of who she is. So space is the next frontier, and it's kind of adorable because we know that Ellie loves comic books. She's still a kid at heart in that regard to like astronauts, relics of the past. So it's kind of like this adorable little discussion because again, it's like a father-daughter situation in a little bonding moment. But then, like you said, they run into the Montana men, but the Wyoming boys, I'll call them that. And or the is it Jackson? I think that's the name of the civilization.
Uh,
The
oh, the yeah, I think it was
yeah.
Jackson.
So we'll just call them the Jackson boys. Let's just say that. And excuse me. Um,
The
they get
Jackson.
led back to the settlement.
Jackson 5?
And
Sorry.
ooh, was there five? I mean, we could call them Jackson Five. There were five of them.
It's fine. It's fine.
But
No.
um,
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
panic attack that happened was because they had dogs sniffing them to see if they were infected or not.
Mhm.
And Joel's not infected, but remember how Ellie is but is not infected.
Yeah.
So there's
True,
that
true,
panic
true, true.
attack
There's
of
always
now I'm
that
gonna
panic.
lose.
Like, oh
Yeah,
shit. Yeah. True,
yeah.
true,
So
true.
that was another part of it was him realizing he could lose Ellie, or this could be a fight or flight situation. But luckily, the dog is like, "Oh, she cool," and then starts licking her, and then we're good. And I think that's when Tommy sees him after they're walking around, and then they start catching up. Right? That's the gist of it.
Yeah, they have like this meal where they're like eating like cannibals, because they basically
Oh,
hadn't had like a very good meal. Um, they found out that Tommy married this woman, right? Joe, for some reason, has an issue with it. Um, I guess because I guess in a way, Joel resents that Tommy moved on so quickly, right, and
hmm
made it a whole different life while he was worried about him all this time, and he never, I don't know, maybe like took a moment to say, "Hey, brother, I'm good. I'm in this settlement. I've made I've found somebody special. I'm making my own little family. Maybe come here, you know."
yeah.
He never made the effort to do that. And I think in a way,
Oh,
I don't know.
shoot.
Oh, what's up?
Sorry, Silver. 1 second.
Can you get one more ale, please?
Sorry about that. I'm back.
Welcome back, bud. You're good. I was just getting another ale. What's up?
So as you were sorry, my dad was calling and then my headphones picked it up and I couldn't
Pop
hear you.
on, boo. You're good, brother.
But anyway,
We were talking about just how, at least to me, it look. So I'm trying to think about it as like because of my brother. Like, if my brother was to like leave me, uh, because he wanted to do his own thing, um, I feel like at least my sibling would have been like, hey, I'm good, I'm alive. He'd find a ways to communicate with me and tell me, either send me letters, maybe a phone call, whatever. I know that's not possible, not in that type of world. But they had that sort of like way of communicating, right, through Telegram, right?
mhm,
It was or radio, and um, why not just say, hey, I'm good, like in their code, because they had a code, you know. They could have said, hey, I'm good, I'm all right, don't worry about me,
yeah.
you know. But he never did that. He just kind of like build a village, right? And is has been living it up, has been eating great, has a wife, you know. What
Hmm.
why didn't he invite him to this, you know? Especially after he knew what his brother went through, lost his daughter. They're in this horrible world where they're trying to survive. Why not add one more capable person to it all, you know?
Hmm.
It's I don't know. It's it's hurtful, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's hard for Tommy too because I think in one of the earlier episodes Joel explains that Tommy wanted to be a hero again and ventured off and everything else. But what's interesting in Tommy's perspective is that he's I think in a way doesn't it's like he's also admitting that what they were doing was weighing on him and he couldn't do it anymore. And he felt like the Fireflies weren't really what he envisioned it was. So that's why he also separated was because although Joel knew that the Fireflies weren't really who they were for what he was doing, it was a means of survival. And Tommy was like, I can't do that alone. And so then he wanders off, and that's when he finds his now wife and then finds a settlement and decides to live his life, but then never lets Joel know, which I agree with you. It does suck because it's like here's somebody who is a big part of your survival and a part of your life and a part of everything. Like you after losing Sarah, who did he have left? It was his brother.
Yeah,
And um and that's what makes it and I think that's why I get Joel's resentment also is because it's like I don't think Joel cares whether or not Tommy lives in his own life or moves forward or does whatever. So, the when Tommy says the whole just because life stopped for you doesn't mean it has to stop for me. I don't think Joel really cares so much about whether or not life stopped for him or anything. It was more like you just left me.
yeah,
And so I would have been okay with you with your life starting because maybe, if I were to have gone with you or maybe I would have made it to the settlement, maybe life would have started for me too. It's one of those like
exactly.
I'm not harboring resentment for you getting to live your life. What I harbor anger towards is you left me
Yeah, what?
alone.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, what couldn't we both start our new lives,
Yeah.
together? I mean, because Tommy does, seem to show some sort of resentment because they a lot of the bad things that they did between, you know,
Yeah.
when it all went down to now, right?
Yeah.
Um, but they did what they needed to do to survive. But yeah, like you said, it comes down to that. You kind of left me behind. I'm glad that you started your life, but we could have started our lives side by side, right? And
Yeah.
again, is that difficult conversation that starts giving Joel those panic attacks again,
Yeah.
right? And he starts feeling how it's tolling on him because and he even starts imagining his daughter, right? I
Mhm.
believe, And I mean, as somebody who suffers panic attacks, I can tell you that like it doesn't matter how logical you can be about anything, right? About
Mhm.
everything. It doesn't matter how much you're like, no, everything's okay, everything's fine. Just take a step back. It's all right. No, nothing makes sense. Like you
No.
spiral. You spiral. And if you're somebody like Joel, who is the type of person who is definitely not a person who believes in mental health, right? Or has anybody. He doesn't have tests anymore, right? The test would have been the one that probably would have brought him out of this, right? Um, he only has himself now. He
Yeah.
doesn't consider Ellie, you know, anything like tests. He's
Yeah.
gonna have a hard time.
And also, seeing a girl that reminds him of his daughter, I imagine gives credence to the what if, right? Like, what if she had survived? What if and maybe I'm overthinking this because I'm like wanting more symbolism or whatever. But to a degree, I think the panic attack isn't just seeing her, but also like a reflection of the life that like you said, that he once had. But on top of like, if his daughter had survived, this is what life could have been for them.
Yeah.
Because I do think Joel's life could have been significantly different if Sarah had survived. I
Yeah.
don't think Joel would have done the things that he did to survive at all. I think maybe he would have been lucky and they would have found Jackson, the colony. I think they could have lived a happily ever after and lived peacefully, and Joel wouldn't be who he is today. But yeah, I think there's just a lot that goes into that moment, and it's so sad because, like you said, human nature isn't always logical, and the mind is not always logical at all, and you can't logic your way out of panic and anxiety. Um, it's a negative loop feedback of, like, even if you were to try to throw those questions at yourself to logic yourself out of it, the brain could easily go, that's true, but that's true, but like that's just something that happens. I know I've had a couple of anxiety, I don't know if I would say panic attacks, but anxiety attacks where even grounding didn't work. It was just kind of like, yeah, I
Hmm.
know that like my feet are touching the earth. I know that I'm breathing, and breathing helps me to focus on stuff. But oh my God, there's still all these things that are very present for me right now
Yeah.
that I have to stress about. And your
Yeah.
brain will find many ways to just keep getting at you with it and won't let go. And like you said, when you don't have someone to talk to about it, or you don't have an anchor to give you that, like Tess was for Joel, you're right. It's nearly impossible to pull out of it.
Yeah, it's hard because again, there is no logic to things. It's either going to be you. That's why when you are lucky enough to finally get out of it, or you have to prep. I guess in other
Mhm.
words, for situations like that, like you have to find anchors. For me, it's either Moose or my phone. And in my phone, I try to do at least like five different things to kind of like get me out of it, you know, um, and just kind of like let myself go, disconnect, like disassociate. Like that's the best way that I can help myself when I've had panic attacks and I don't have Moose, nearby, where I can call
Yeah.
and be like, babe, it's happening. Like, and she starts talking to me, and she kind of starts reeling me in. You need to find your anchors, right? And
Mhm.
Joel, but I have gone to therapy. I have a psychiatrist. I know all those tools. Those tools are available to me, but Joel doesn't have any of that. He doesn't
Yeah.
know what to do. The man's just had a very difficult conversation with his brother. He's lost his daughter. He's hallucinating. You know, like the man has is almost complete with his purpose, which is literally getting this little girl to this place so that they can find a cure. And then after that, what? Tess is gone. I'm sure that most of his plans included her in the future, and she's no longer there.
Yeah. And And yeah, and then getting back to now where Ellie is and with Maria, who is Tommy's wife,
Mhm.
just to let everybody know, because we kind of skimmed over Maria. Ellie's gotten to take a shower. It's like the whole like, oh my god, like this is a miracle.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then Maria is like, "Do you know what a diva cup is?
The
Here's what
diva
you
cup.
need to use." Yeah, and then Ellie goes to Maria's house and sees the names of two kids and their date of birth and their date of death. So now we see the names of Kevin and Sarah with
Yeah.
two candles in front of them. And Maria comes in, gives Ellie a jacket, and then decides to give Ellie a haircut to because you know you survived. You pamper yourself, treat yourself in the best way possible in a post-apocalyptic setting. And during this time, Ellie apologizes to Maria for losing the kids. But then Maria's like, well, Kevin was my kid, and Sarah was Joel's daughter.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's when Ellie gets that shock of, oh God, no wonder why Joel is who he is.
Yeah.
It allows her to finally
Kind of like,
understand.
yeah.
Yeah, go on.
No, no, keep going. I was agreeing with you.
All I was gonna say was it kind of allows her to see now why he's standoffish to her to a degree, to a degree, why he's distant because he can't afford to be that close to her, and he is fighting everything to not be that close to her. Let's all be real here, right?
Mhm.
Joel has given him a little piece of himself, little by little, to Ellie to where he has warmed up to her to where maybe she's not like his daughter full on yet, but she is in many various aspects like a daughter to him.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's Joel's on the denial train. He doesn't want to admit it to himself, but she's like his daughter. But
Yeah.
he has a little bit of a wall up to her to where like it's kind of like the final hurdle. And so Ellie is like, okay, so that makes sense now why Joel is who he is.
Mhm.
So it kind of it's a small but significant moment that allows Ellie to feel even closer to Joel to where like she I think it makes it secure for her to where now she is like now that I understand him better, this is like my friend. And that leads to Maria talking to Ellie, trying to figure out what they're doing. She has her
Mhm.
concerns, and like acknowledging that they were morally great people in their actions, but she's moved beyond that, and all this stuff, and she's worried that Joel's gonna drag her down a bad road because Joel was a bad influence on Tommy, which I think is another reason why he cut off contact was because of how Maria may feel about Joel. But Ellie says we're good. Like, you don't need to worry about us. To where Maria tells her, be careful who you put your faith in, because the only people who can betray us are the ones we trust. Which I think is powerful in
Yeah.
this situation
It's true. Right.
because
And it's
I'll
also
let you expand.
very,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, well, also, if you think about it, it kind of sets it all up for the end, if you think
Mm-hmm.
about it, right? For what happens in the end, which we won't talk about right now, but we will eventually. Um, but Ellie has grown so close to Joel that she's like she trusts him 100%. And you're right, Joel is on the denial train. I was just gonna say earlier, throwing back on how much he now, I think he really does consider her as a daughter, is because when they were eating, and I think she's just like pigging out and like starts, you know, cursing about like how fucking good the food is. He
Mm-hmm.
apologizes on her behalf as if like a dad would when you have like a kid who is being gross at the kitchen table, at the dinner table.
Yeah.
And again, it just goes to show how their relationship has completely changed. It's no longer package and deliver. It's
Yeah.
it's a father and a daughter traveling, you know, uh, for who knows what reason anymore. To be honest with you, because I don't even think they both know anymore, like what the
Yeah.
point is. I think at this point, I think they know where they have to go, but they're just traveling to survive
Mm-hmm.
and to kind of be together at the same time. You know, because
Yeah.
it's like, that you have to go to, I don't know, Las Vegas, right? But
Mhm.
you're just kind of enjoying the road to get there, no matter how long it takes. Uh, I don't know if that's the best way to explain it, but
Oh no, I mean, I get it. Because real quick, I'll just say, like, I think as a
mm,
viewer, you knew that they were close the minute Ellie's pulling out them dad jokes and
yeah,
points out how she notices the thing about his right ear, and also when he's like
mhm,
apologizing to her about having to have shot the kid. Like,
yeah,
obviously, she was like a daughter to him. So I agree with you in that, like, they know what the objective is, which is to make a cure, but really, is that really the only objective now? Because, like you said, they're so close now that I don't know if Joel would be really that okay with letting her go. I
yeah.
think even after he gets her there, and
It's too late.
yeah,
Mhm.
to where I think he's probably just thinking, "You join me on the farm and we'd raise sheep together." Like,
Yeah,
that's pretty much, I think, where his mindset is on the end. So
yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah, no, it's just too late, man. I mean, their relationship is something else, and though Maria has her own concerns, it's kind of stereotypical if you think about it, right? Like the whole what's it called, girlfriend that I don't want to say she's bad because she's not bad, but the controlling girlfriend that tells you not to
Hmm.
hang out with your boys anymore because they're a bad influence. Um, she's kind
Yeah.
of being a little bit like that, you know. Like I get it. Like, yeah, Joel is damaged and he has things, right? But I don't know. Maybe if she was maybe even more understanding and kinder, she'd understand why, and maybe she'd even offer to also help Joel. That would be somebody that would be, I think, a better partner. Not just like,
Yeah.
yeah, go away from him, like step, don't have anything to do with him because he's a bad influence and I don't want you near him. It's like, no, dude, he's a grown ass man. It's not like a kid. You can't tell. Don't hang out with the kids from around the corner at the neighborhood because they're a bad influence. He's a grown man, dude. No, like, and you've married
Yeah.
him, so you've married into everything that he is, and that is his brother. So maybe you should have instead been like, hey, your brother clearly has things going on. Why don't we bring him? It might do him good. She never said
Yeah.
that. She never offered that. That would have been the best way to, I think, to go about with helping family because that's what he is now. That's what happens when you get married, right? You become family. He becomes her brother too. And she never gave that option. She was just like, nope, we're gonna grab that. We're gonna grab Joe. We're gonna put it in a little bowl. We're gonna put it in a little box. We're gonna lock it down. We're gonna forget about it.
Well, I think
That was so selfish of her too.
I agree. I can understand that. My argument to kind of maybe put a little bit more into understanding her perspective too is, and this is me speculating because we don't really know what the conversation is, but I wonder if, as Maria listened to Tommy, because probably Tommy probably spilled his guts to Maria, and told her everything. Probably told her what happened to Sarah, probably told her what happened to Joel, talked about what the journey was like from his perspective. And I imagine she heard what Tommy's perspective was, which was, I love Joel, but he maybe, from what I could speculate, was like, he made me do all these things I didn't agree with, but I did it because he's my brother. And so there's a part of me that wonders if whatever Tommy told her indicated to her that it would be better for him to completely walk away from Joel than it would be to invite him in. Because what if Joel feels like he needs to move again? Then is Tommy going to leave with him, or is Tommy going to stay with her? So,
It falls back to, like you said, we don't know what the conversation is. You're
mhm.
right. Because I mean, if I'm talking to Moose and Moose just starts telling me about her uh, imaginary brother who is, went through hard times with her and everything, and all I hear is her perspective about how bad things were. All I'm hearing is my significant other suffering, right?
Mhm.
And as the person that I love, I just don't want her to suffer,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So yeah, you're right. We don't know how the conversation would have gone realistically,
So
or what Tommy
yeah,
would have
so
said.
and that's what I think happened is more like Tommy, the way that he was probably framing it. And I don't blame Tommy because Tommy was probably going through some shit at that time, like everyone else. Um, Tommy probably had a lot of guilt weighing on him for a lot of the death that they probably caused. And I think as his partner, she was doing what she felt was the best to protect him and to preserve him and to keep
Right.
him
Exactly.
sane, which was to do that. And yeah, it probably sucked to let go of Joel, but in a way, though, Tommy looks happy.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Tommy
trying to be
looks
mean
fulfilled.
to
Right.
yeah, like I'm not trying to be rude to Joel, but Tommy did get to have his life move forward. I think that ties into what Tommy says to Joel, and I wonder if that's what Maria has told him before is like, just because his life stopped, went on pause doesn't mean yours has to. And I think that's why Tommy says that is because maybe that was a conversation that they had. And I think that's why he kind of became okay with it. Um, and
Yeah.
then, um, so then this leads into back to Maria giving Ellie that whole conversation about like the people closest to you could betray you, because now we get into this conversation where Tommy comes back to meet up with Joel and gives him a new pair of boots, and
Right.
then asks if Joel if the trip is, I think, a suicide mission,
Yeah.
or no, it was
It
Tom,
was
or
more like,
no, go on, sorry.
no, it was just like whether it was like just like one of those like situations where it's we don't know if he's coming back, not
Mhm.
necessarily a suicide mission.
Gotcha. So basically they have the conversation where Joel breaks everything down from what they're going through, what their journey has been. Everything else like leads into talking about how Ellie is immune, but she's been bit. What they've been through.
Hmm.
Basically lays out like they've seen some shit and it is weighing on him, and how much he struggles right now with
Right.
everything, because he talks about how, and it's kind of like it. I feel like to a degree, it's almost as if like, no, I'm trying to tie this into something way more than it was. This darn mead. I'm kidding. But Joel talks about like his guilt and his regrets in this journey, which was he couldn't protect Ellie from shooting the kid back in Kansas City. He should have been the one protecting her, not the other way around. And how he watched Henry kill Sam, and he couldn't do anything to stop it, and the reality is, he wouldn't have been able to stop it anyway because Henry just was going to do it no matter what. But he still felt like it was his fault. And I think, again, like what you said, even no matter how logical we can be to ourselves, sit, rationalities like that happen. So for Joel, it's like, I still am responsible for Henry killing Sam and killing himself. And like you said, the panic attacks are now kind of in relation to that anxiety of all that guilt on top of worrying about Ellie, about worrying about Tommy if he was dead, and then seeing the girl reminding him of Sarah. It's all weighing too much on himself. He can't sleep at night. He can't do a lot of things. It's becoming too much for him. And that guilt gets him to ask Tommy to do the last favor he'll ever ask him to do, which
Right.
is to take Ellie to the Firefly camp in Seattle.
Right. To which, Tommy doesn't really want to do it because I mean he's got a kid coming. So many things could go wrong. But you know what? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this one last thing, you know, because yeah, Tommy does feel guilty that he just kind of abandoned him,
Mhm.
right? And he's seeing his brother in a very vulnerable situation, where like you said, he was giving him the boots. He found him like kind of struggling trying to repair his current old boots.
Yeah.
And he sees that he's in a bad shape. Plus, he knows his own brother, dude.
Mhm.
The tells on your family when they're not doing good. So he knew he was not at his best, right?
Yeah.
And that it was finally taking a huge toll. Everything was just taking a huge toll on him. So he decides to agree, and that in even Tommy has a hard time trying to tell Maria, but somehow she still allows it to happen, because I seriously thought that she was going to make a bigger deal about it, but you know uh it was happening. And next thing you know, Joel just kind of like gets it together, realizes, like we were talking earlier, I can't live without Ellie because she is now my anchor. She is the one that keeps me grounded.
Mhm.
If I stay here or if I move on or try and do something else, I don't know if I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And they set off onto the wild
Well,
frozen west.
before that though,
Yeah, yeah,
there's the whole conversation with Joel and Ellie where he actually goes to Ellie's house and he sees where that she's still up, and she tears into him, and I
oh, that
think
conversation.
justifiably so.
Right.
Yeah, it's that conversation where she's like, if you're
Yeah.
going to ditch me, then fucking ditch me, dude, because I'm not everybody that I've cared for has either died or left me except
Yeah.
for you. And she was
Yeah.
really
Hurt.
feeling like this was
Uh,
yeah, hurt, like you said, and like feeling like this was finally it for her. Like I think there was that
like she had found happiness. Yeah.
exactly, and it
Let's
was like
raise some
that
fucking sheep together.
yeah, it was as if like basically they were both in acknowledgement that they were gonna get a farm and raise some fucking sheep together. Because for her, like whether or not she wanted to admit it at the beginning, like he did become like a dad to her because no
Yep.
matter what, like no matter if she was cargo or not, she felt like he was like a father to her. He took care
Yep.
of her. He tried to protect her. He wanted to like make sure she still could be a kid. Those same moments that mattered to Joel mattered to Ellie as well. So, and she tells him the truth. Like every time she's changed hands of somebody else, it makes her more scared and more terrified because now she needs a new anchor. Now she doesn't know if this person cares about her or if she is just another piece of cargo. Like this is to her now, like Joel has, she knows that he cares. And it's nice to feel secure and safe with someone who cares about you and you feel like has your best interests at heart. And like and he's so stubborn in believing that she doesn't know what loss is, but because she hasn't told him what she's been through, he of course he doesn't know that. But that's what she tries to hint at, and then for him to try to stop her from convincing him, he says like, "You're right. You're not my daughter, and I sure as hell ain't your dad." Which, come on, right, Silver? We both know, right? We
Yep.
know. We fucking know that that was just him putting his defenses up, trying to be like, I can't do this, so
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna just leave you be,
Yeah.
and you go to Seattle while I lament in the dark, wondering if
Yeah.
I'm ever have made the right decision.
Yeah. Which is never the right decision,
Of
realistically.
course, of course not.
And
Which
uh-huh.
yeah, at the end, like you were mentioning, Tommy was getting ready to take her, and then Joel's like, "You get a choice of who you want to go," and she's like, "Let's fucking go," to
Yeah.
Joel, and they leave without a moment's hesitation.
Yeah. She's basically like, all right, I'm glad that you finally stopped fucking around. Let's go. We're wasting time. You stupid bitch. Kind of basically, right? It's like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It was like I knew you were coming all along, sort of situation. It was the whole Han Solo, I love you, I know,
yeah, yeah.
sort of situation. Which
Which is
is
great.
again goes back to the relationship, how tight it is now. They, yeah, it's again, it's a dad and daughter relationship at this point. But like you said, nothing in The Last of Us lasts more than 30 seconds. So
Yeah.
anything emotional and good, because they go about their little trip. He's teaching her how to shoot with the sniper rifle, which I think there's a lot of like fan art of all
Hmm.
over fucking Twitter of that scene. It's everywhere. Beautiful art, by the way. A lot of artists have been making a great job with that scene when they're both like kind of like right next to each other, and he's showing her how to aim and shoot. Um, but then after that, they arrive to the Fireflies little like medical like checkpoint.
Right. That's why they were going to Wyoming, was because that was where they were supposed to originally meet them.
Yeah, but it's no longer there. It looks like a disaster zone or like something bad happened, right? Because I
Hmm.
mean, they find the medical facility. They find that it almost looks like they were like they just scrambled to get out.
Hmm.
Right? It looked like there was like a setup there, like of people, and then everything just looks wrecked, kind of like how what happened with when Tess passed, right? When she got killed, everything looked like they were all set up, and then you know they took them. I
Yeah,
got taken over, um, and I think they just find monkeys.
I think
I
so.
th-
Yeah.
they find some monkeys in the lab because they hear some noise and they're like, "Oh shit! Here comes the fucking zombie creature thingy majigs." But I think it was just baboons, monkeys, which is weird,
Right.
right? Like baboons in the middle of like the
Ju-
mountains of the United States.
yeah, just
No.
vibing like, oh shit, they found us. Run
Oh shit!
away.
I'm guessing there must have been from some zoo or something.
Or it would have been like a lab or something, probably within the because they were probably testing some medicines or some chemicals to like see if they
Ah,
can come up
true,
with a
true, true, true.
cure.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
That makes way more sense. That's why you're the smarter one, Membo.
No, 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 no.
Also, don't test on animals. People is a bad thing. Uh,
Yes.
and of course, that wasn't even the worst part of it all. Is that they find scavengers basically on their tails, right?
Yeah.
I think some scavengers had been already scouting them out. Good thing is that they kind of got the ahead of things, and
Hmm.
they're able to make their way out. I my memory's kind of off on this one. I don't know what happens if I know they obviously escape, but does Joel get hurt?
Oh,
Somebody gets hurt, right?
yeah, yeah. So, real quick, they find a map that tells them where they really need to go, which is Salt Lake City,
Oh, okay.
to St. Mary's. And then as they look out the window, they see four men with weapons who go into the back entrance because they see the horse and like, oh, there's people here.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Joel dispenses of one rather quickly, breaks his neck, and is like,
Oh, awesome.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then the
John
others
Wick,
start to,
bitch. Uh huh.
yeah, right. So then the other men start to attack, and I think basically Joel survives a shootout in the fight, but he doesn't also really survive in a sense of the boy got stabbed in the gut. This is
That's right. He
exactly what
gets
Joel.
stabbed. I
Yep.
was like, oh, what? I thought he got
This
shot, but
is
you're right. He got
yeah,
stabbed.
and this is exactly what he had been worried about, and why he brought this up to Tommy was because I think the guy got him on the right side, which is where Joel was
Yeah,
worried
is
again
death.
because yeah. And so like we've said, The Last of Us is like, "Oh, you're people are happy? Who gets to be happy? This is the apocalypse, bro. You don't get to be happy." So then Ellie runs towards him, sees he's losing a lot of blood, and she doesn't know what to do. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it just
she just doesn't have that life skill.
yeah. And so it basically ends with her holding him, freaking out, not knowing what to do, begging him to get up. Like, you could do this. Please get up. Don't leave me. Don't leave me alone here. Like,
Basically, yeah.
again, this is confirming for her what she said is that everybody who loves her always dies or they leave her. This confirms Joel's fear of like he wouldn't be able to protect her that well. And so, of course, the creators of the show do the really messed up thing of playing the song that plays in the first episode from the radio when
Um,
it's Frank and Bill trying to tell Joel that they're in trouble, which is the Never Let Me
yeah,
Down song by Depeche Mode.
yeah.
So, screw you, The Last of Us writers, who decided to put us in that moment of
Yeah.
like, oh, you think life gets to be happy? No,
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 not in this world. Not in The Last of Us.
no.
Not in The Last of Us.
Which makes me kind of upset, I admit, because they left us on a freaking cliffhanger with the next episode because they decided to do a flashback, which is fine. They want us to get to know Ellie's story leading up to when she finds out about like that she is immune.
Mhm.
In episode 7, which is the flashback, I forget what the name of the title is, but it's when it was the DLC that they added that created a lot of controversy because of Ellie having a crush on a girl.
Right. Right. People don't apparently we're 2023. Well, we're in the 2000s and people still not okay with gay.
Because apparently
Um,
LGBT don't uh, don't live in the post-apocalyptic world. Like,
Right,
okay.
right. Apparently, it's like, oh, here's the zombies, or here's the aliens. Oh, I guess they're gonna eat all the gay people first.
Jesus.
Not how it works, guys. Not
No.
how it works. Abu, hold on, really quick. Give me 1 second, okay? Hang tight.
Yep.
Go grab a drink, or go grab a nail or something. And I'm back. I saw an ogre that owed me some money, so I went to go smack him in the face.
Ah, I see. I see.
It
Cats.
happens.
So
Uh
the
huh.
the cats didn't catch him. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, you know, sometimes
Hey,
those
we see
ogres
you.
can be elusive. Yeah, yeah, no, he can't see anymore though, because yeah.
Ooh.
Anyways,
Ooh.
yeah. So that controversial DLC, you know, it's just it blows my mind that it costs so much of an issue. But it was a background. It was like a good time travel that we needed to witness and to also kind of understand Ellie a little bit more. You know, because
hmm
all we know about Ellie is that she's like a sassy little shit. Um, that is kind of funny and cool. You know, um, and who has her own damage that has required her to have her own tether, like Joe,
Yeah.
right? Because she hasn't really ever known what it is to have parents, right? She was always under the care of what's her name again? The military, the
Marlena, I think. Right.
Marlene. Yeah. So she never really knew what that was like. I'm trying to say it in the most kindest ways. Ellie has daddy issues. Um, she just she
Oh my
needed
god.
she just needed a daddy figure. No, that sounds wrong. I'm gonna stop talking now, but can you please
No,
take
no.
over?
One sec. So the episode starts with Ellie dragging Joel from his horse because she got him on the horse. He's passed out. She finds a house. She puts him in there, and is like, "I'm gonna go look for supplies." 'Cause that's the only thing she could do. One second. Um,
And
and
yeah,
as a result, then we kind of go back into her past where we find out she's in a Fedra training school and
mhm.
she's like running in their like PE class, and this
Fedra,
girl
right?
named Bethany was like rips off her headphones and is just like teasing her, telling her to pick up the pace. And Ellie's like, "Yo, you really I don't want to fight," because she knows she's about to beat the shit out of this little shit. And
Hmm.
Bethany's just like, still poking at her and all this other stuff. Um, and that Ellie doesn't fight, and and that because their friend isn't here anymore, they can pick on her because she won't defend herself. And Ellie's like, "Oh, bet," and then decks her. And then rocks her world to where Bethany is not gonna do it, should not do anything anymore. I think Ellie has made it clear, don't fuck with me because I'm about to mess you up, which lands her in the equivalent of their principal's office where Captain
Hmm.
Kwong is trying to be like, Ellie, there's two roads for you could take. If you keep doing the stuff that you're doing, you could either be a grunt and then listen to Bethany, or you could behave and be complicit, and you could tell future Bethany's to fuck off. So,
Yeah.
of course, given such a stark comparison, Ellie's like, I guess I'll be an officer because that's the best thing I could do. But bro,
Hmm.
can you hand me my Walkman, please? Like, just give me my Walkman.
Right. Right. Right.
So,
It's
yeah,
funny too that Ellie's like, "Oh, you thought my friend was the violent one? Nah, nah, bro. It was me. My friend was the one that was actually the nice one. I'm the
yeah,
mean one." And just like, yeah. But yeah, you're right. The comparison is huge, right? And she's a smart
yeah,
girl. You know, she accepts I think what I've liked so much about Ellie is that she sees what her current situation is at the moment, and then she adapts to it and she rolls with it, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's what she was doing in that situation. In that point in her life, it's either I become just Boots, and I listen to the Bethany's because Bethany's probably gonna move up and probably become her boss, or I become the boss of Bethany and I tell Bethany what to do, you know?
Hmm.
Um, so she goes with the option that's going to probably feel better to her, and it because clearly the captain sees that she has potential. I mean, Ellie is smart. She's a
Yeah.
little shit, but she's smart, right? For this
Yeah.
type of world and the type of training that they're doing, she's definitely more than capable of
Oh,
of being excellent.
bro, that's what I was gonna say, that she's more than capable. Man, we're on the same wavelength here. What the hell? Get out of my head, Silver.
Never, I belong there.
Stop using the spell.
um, and then
Yeah,
what happened
we
after that?
no. That's when her old roommate and the bestie
Oh yeah,
that
the bestie.
Bethany said like couldn't was like protecting her
Yeah, yeah.
sneaks in, and then yeah, Ellie's like, "Yo, where the fuck you been at? Because I thought you were dead." And Riley said that she's fine. She just need to run away for a bit. And kind of like Ellie's kind of like, I think this episode also kind of serves to show how Ellie and Joel are very much alike in terms of how they are and how they function and operate. Because she's like, bro, you could have at least told me that you were leaving. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
thought you were legitimately dead. Why did you do that to me? Like, you kind of owe it to me to let me know that you're fine. Give me a clue, anything that at least tells me that you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which then Riley tells Ellie that she joined the Fireflies, and then shows Ellie a gun to prove that she has. And
Right.
then, sorry, one second. Please continue, Silver.
No, yeah, no, that's fine. Bethany basically is like, "Oh, look at me, I'm a little badass. I'm with the Fireflies. I'm so
No, no,
cool."
Riley does.
Oh,
Bethany is
Riley,
the.
Riley. Sorry, Riley. I'm
No,
so
no, you're
sorry. I'm
good.
thinking of Bethany and how she got clocked. Riley is saying, "Oh, look at my little clock and shit," and it basically explains how she's been making a name for herself with the Fireflies and how things are so cool and that what's the name again of the where she's at the why
Oh,
do
the
I keep
Fedra camp?
saying Fedra? Why was my brain keep on trying to say Bethesda? That's the video game company.
Because it's pretty
Anyways,
close. The ending is, yeah.
thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I get you, I
that
get you.
that Fedra are the bad guys, Fireflies are the best, et cetera, blah blah blah. Right. And they have this whole little like resync. We're best friends. I love you, I take care of you. They also have like this very awkward moment where Ellie is like getting dressed and you know which obviously you can feel like the weird angsty teenager. I
Yeah,
don't even want to say sexual tension, but that's what it is.
yeah.
And that she wants to show her a nice time. Basically, she just asked Ellie for a date. Let's just be real.
Yeah. She basically was like, "I'll tell you everything if you go on this totally just hang out with friend type of
Wink,
experience."
wink. Yep.
So
Hang out. Totally hang out.
I'm gonna
Not a
give you the
date.
best night of your life, but in a, like showing you something. Oh,
Hmm.
this is getting weird. Basically, it was like a there's something I really
What I
wanted
mean?
you to
See what I
check
mean?
out.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
see this.
So so basically Riley's like, if you come with me, I'll tell you everything, but like I have to show you something. And then Ellie says no at first, but then, she says yes. And then she changes. And then
Uh,
Riley comments that Ellie is so weird about it. And I think it's supposed to make like you said, the angst there, but
mhm.
also like when kids finally become aware of their body and who they are and like
Yeah, yeah,
that autonomy and
exactly.
everything.
Mhm.
Um, and
God,
then,
it's gonna suck having to
yeah.
explain this shit to my kids when I grow up. It's gonna be so awkward.
And so
Um,
then,
yeah.
yeah, they crawl out the window and head out for their 2 a.m. adventure.
Yeah, adventure. Let's call it that. Yeah, they have the whole awkward, blushy looking down because I'm too embarrassed to look you in the eye, sort of thing. So it's a date, dude. It's a date. That's what it is. She missed her. They missed each other. They love each other, but they can't say it. Blah blah blah. Sort of like awkward, weird talk with each other. But also, like, if the pretty girl asks you out on an adventure, you say yes, dude. By the way, so I can't really blame Ellie. That's would have been like what teenager Silver would have done. They've been like,
Mhm.
oh, the cool girl or the pretty girl from schools is telling me you want to go somewhere with me. Yeah, I'm gonna probably say yes.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
And and of course, like, they're able to get by Fedra agents, patrols, and everything because Fedra, even though they like to act like they got their stuff together, once you're
They
really
don't.
here, they
Yeah,
don't.
they really don't.
Yeah. So, um, Ellie, being the little shit that she is, who's also funny, let's admit it, grabs a bottle and scares the two other guards before to make them laugh, and then um, I forget where if they move if they like continue moving after that. I think they have a conversation about like if Riley has says like Ellie asked Riley if she's seen a dead body or something,
Yeah.
and then Riley's like her parents, I guess. There's like some little chit chat back and forth that creates the that makes it clear that these two are very close to each other or
Yeah,
something.
that they know each other's, I guess not darkest secrets, but more like most intimate, you know,
Yeah.
things about each other. Which again, this is a date, uh, and they're just kind of like making their way into this abandoned mall, right? Where Ellie's like, dude, this are you sure is a good idea? This is kind of weird. Where are we going, right? Because they're basically exploring an abandoned building,
Hmm.
since the whole thing went down. But it turns out, I keep trying to call her Bethany. What's her name again? Uh,
Riley.
Riley. Uh, Figures out how to bring power to this entire structure, right? And shows her how the malls used to look like. I think there was like a New York and Company store, like right off the bat. And Ellie's just kind of like mind blown because she's never known anything like this. She doesn't know what a mall is. She wasn't born. She hadn't been born when malls were at their peaks. They don't
Hmm.
know what it is that like the most normal thing for teenagers to do was to go hang out at the mall, at the food court, and make fun of people.
I'm
But
sorry.
that
Can we just go on a tangent real quick?
yeah, do
Like,
it.
I feel like malls just have not been like that anymore, and it makes me so.
What?
Yeah,
They don't do
I
that
don't.
anymore?
No, no. I mean, like, I'm sure it's busy and stuff. Like certain malls are, but like my old malls that I used to go to,
Mhm.
just do not gain the same traction, and it always used to go, dang, has like mall life really died here? Like as a kid, I used to like I would go to the mall on occasion. My parents would either go with me or they drop me off and let me go do my thing. Like
Yeah.
just chill, whatever. And it's so different now. It feels like it's not as well. I mean, I'm sure it's because of COVID and everything, but I just feel like it's
True,
just not the
true,
same.
true.
And I get it though, because like you could be on your phone, you could order a lot of stuff online these days.
Mhm,
You could stay home, play video games, record a
mhm.
dope ass podcast with a best friend.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Stuff like
yeah.
that. But
Mhm,
yeah, so I agree. So it just made me think about that because I was on a weird nostalgia kick on TikTok the other day, and it was like,
mhm.
damn, some of the stuff I used to do as a kid isn't the same anymore. But anyway, you're right. Ellie hadn't been born when malls were a thing, and this is all a big surprise, and it's awesome to her,
Yeah,
right?
because I mean, it's like so much color, so much lighting, like there's all these like cool things that were like traces of the past that were left behind. Like there was even like a sign at the movie place where it says "back in 5 minutes." It's like realistically, that person never came back, and we don't know if they're still alive.
Yeah,
That movie employee. There's Best Buys. There's like, what society used to be, and it's
yeah,
so overwhelming um, to her, right? And obviously the building looks ransacked as well, right? Because you know people when there's chaos will take advantage of things. Let's be honest. You know,
yeah,
that's just humanity. We've seen it again and again with people try and protest peacefully, and then they turn it into something else. That's just how it is. That's just humanity. But anyways, she they have like a weird, awkward also moment when they're like they go through like a lingerie store, right?
Mhm.
They're going
Oh
through
yeah,
women
there. Yeah.
underwear.
So there's that. I know. Didn't they? Well, they went to the arcade first, right?
They went to the arcade after because they're walking through the stores.
Oh yeah, and they're doing the whole like, ooh, look at this, and all that
Yeah.
other stuff, and like being normal, fun, like teenagers or whatever, and I'm just exploring. And then there's that hint of the guy who the uh the infected who's on the wall with the mycelium attached to him, where he wakes up and then is
Mhm.
letting other infected know, hey, there's people in here, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. It's kind of like
Okay.
that.
So on another tangent, forgive me for this, but
Yeah. Go ahead.
um, I was curious what movies came out in 2003 for The Last of Us, because the series, basically the world ended in 2002, 2003, right?
Hmm.
So our movies that we have as a possibility are Elf, Bad Santa, Kangaroo Jack,
Dude,
X2,
Kangaroo Jack. Oh my
right?
God, X2. Wow.
Or Agent Cody Banks,
Oh my God.
or Tears of the Sun, and Underworld.
Oh my God, Underworld. Wow. Yeah.
I was trying to think of what movie it might have been, or even The Italian Job. So I kind of feel like we would have, I don't know, it would have been some of those, one of those movies. Or I think How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, that probably would have been another one. But,
It's crazy and good. They were good. Some of them were good films. I don't know about X2.
oh God, X2.
That was horrible. But that's crazy, man. That's so like Kangaroo Jack, man. Such a freaking iconic movie now that I think about it, but at the same
Yeah.
time, God, it was so bad. Looking back at the same time,
Yeah.
I don't think I could sit and watch it, which is probably why you guys would probably want to watch it because you guys like to torture me with horrible movies.
Oh, writing that
Um,
down. Perfect.
God damn it. Um,
Or
uh,
the only other movie I could think of is Lord of the Rings: Return of the King was
oh,
out
see,
there
now
too.
that would have been an excellent
You know what?
flick.
That's what we'll say. The world
Yep.
ended, and the final
And
movie in that theater was
mhm,
Lord of the Rings: Return
mhm.
of the King.
Yep.
There we go.
That's awesome. Perfect. I
Cool.
like how that ended. And then they all live happily ever. No, they didn't. They didn't. And in similar fashion as always, right? They're having their little date. I
Hmm.
think they have like a bottle of liquor, and they're
Hmm.
having their cute little date. They're in the carousel, right? Um,
Hmm.
what else? What happened? Is that when they find the one of the that one of the
I think
zombie
so.
things?
But one of the things I want to kind of tie it back into real quick, if it's okay, there's two things.
Please.
One of them, again, to add to the teenage angst and tension, I think Ellie asks Riley, like, why did you join the Fireflies? Was there a guy that you found that, like, you started dating and then you got recruited? And then
Mhm.
Riley brushed that off. And I think that was kind of, again, adds to their playfulness of, like, how comfortable they are with each other
Yeah.
and how funny they think it is, where it's like, we're going to skirt around the dating thing, but you know, we're gonna joke about it or whatever. And
Yeah.
then the reason why Riley wanted to show her this place is because Riley is leaving in the morning to get to like head to Firefly HQ.
Yeah.
So she wanted to take Ellie on this date to basically say goodbye.
Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of a big thing for why this matters for her for it to go right. So that's why they do the whole like playing the arcade the whole time and like going to the lingerie store and like making fun of it. And then like you said, of course, when things are happy, that's when it can't be happy anymore. And then I think they hear a walker, one of the infected, and then it comes charging after them. And Marley, and then Riley can't pull her gun out in time, which leads to them like trying to run around the department store trying to like
Yeah.
survive. And and I think Riley holds the infected still, and then I think Ellie kills it with a bat. I think my memory is a little
Yeah,
bit hazy in that department, but I'm pretty sure
yeah,
that's what happens.
yeah. I think it was with the bat, and you're right. The infected just kind of like aim at them. Um,
Yeah.
and they start. Wait, did they escape it or wait? Was there another one? Because I remember them having like a weird, awkward dance at some point. I don't know if we skipped
Oh,
through that.
we're jumping around on
We
on this
jumped on that
episode.
one too high because we skipped on how they have like this like sort of like heart to heart and they after the
Mhm.
arcade and they're just kind of like fooling around at one of those like what is it called the you know that store where they sell the Halloween stuff
Oh yeah,
but it's not
Spirit
Halloween
Halloween.
like was it or like Spencer's, is it like Spencer's?
Spencer's Gifts, yeah.
Yeah. And then they're just like kind of dancing with like masks on and everything and you know,
Yeah.
they kiss, don't they? I think they kiss.
Well, okay, there's a point where they do kiss. But the thing that we kind of skipped out on is what Riley calls it is she wants to show Ellie the seven wonders. That's why it's important for
Oh,
where they go, is
yes.
because it's the seven wonders of the
Wonders
mall.
of the
And
mall.
throughout this
Or seven
throughout
wonders.
this whole entire excursion, Ellie and Riley start having their conversations of what Fedra's not really that bad, but then the Fireflies are better, or are they better? There's the whole like what's propaganda, what's not. Riley saying stuff like it's okay that you don't know everything, which is true because they're both young and they both don't know everything. They're going off of what they know. And all that stuff. And then there is a point where I know that they're on a carousel because Ellie's never ridden on one, and that's when they're like looking deep into each other's eyes, and they start drinking more booze and they're having fun and everything. And I think we're gonna have to, but we can continue this, Silver, in part two of
Mhm.
this boogaloo that we're doing.
Wah, wah,
So
wah.
everyone here, I swear to God, you better pay your tab. I don't want to have the cats like give us the list because let me tell you, they are very thorough with their lists. They'll let us know if you didn't pay your tab.
Yeah,
So
Tony knows. Just ask the one-eyed now ogre, okay? If you should owe this tavern any money, okay?
yeah,
You
yeah,
don't want to be the one-eyed ogre, guys. Let's just be real. Make sure you
and
pay Skitty. She does good work,
yeah,
please.
and on top of that, like I know it's not usual for you to hear cats talking, but Skitty felt that the best way to get you to pay is to have the cats talk to you in their threatening, menacing voices, and
Mhm.
you better listen. Just listen. Do us all a favor, okay?
Yeah,
Please.
it's terrifying. I never thought I'd never. I always thought I would love to hear Apollo talk, but not after this. I don't know what she did. I don't know if it's a
Yeah.
spell or what. It was creepy as fuck. So don't do that.
But yeah, for everybody else, please, if you like what you're hearing, please give us a follow. You can follow us on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. You can follow us on Twitter at TBD Tavern. And you know what? If you don't like us, send us to your enemies. Let them know how much you hate them. Go very vivid in your description of why you hate us. And so that
Uh,
way they're more inclined to listen to us, right? We'll take your haters. That's fine. Whatever.
we will take
Cool.
the haters. Tell us about the haters, please. Send your haters this way. Send them to the wandering. I'm just kidding.
You
Uh,
can send it my way. That's fine. Do that. Do it. I dare you. I dare you. But
all
thank you,
right,
everybody,
gang.
so much. Right, Silver?
Yes, thank you so much. Again, pay your tabs. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.